All right, all. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about something that some of you guys may already know about, and by the thumbnail at this point, you've already figured it out: Airbnb and VRBO. So I've been looking over the past, I don't know, off and on for the past 10 years to find a good opportunity, and something about every time I've thought about pulling the trigger, I've always scared myself out of it. It's a new venture for me that, I've been around my entire life, but I've never been the one that's personally on the deed. And so it's always been something that's a little bit scary to me. So back in November timeframe, I was going to be heading up for Thanksgiving, and basically my friend reached out to me and said, "Hey, I found this really cool place. I've actually stayed in it before, rented it as a short-term rental from Airbnb or VRBO, I forget which one." And they stayed in that area several times. And, I live, Pennsylvania. I grew up in Pennsylvania, and I left to come to Houston for work about 10 years ago. But a lot of my good friends that I went to high school with and everything still operate businesses and stuff in that area. And so I always go and visit them. So during Thanksgiving, it was actually Black Friday, I believe. We went to go check out the house. It was really cool. I was in complete disbelief. My friend sent it to me. Obviously, they were selling it furnished, Airbnb. The guy's moving out of the state. He's moving to Florida. So, long story short, I'm like, there's no way these numbers are real. We get from the seller and we get from the seller's agent the numbers. They look legit, straight from Airbnb. And I'm like, okay, there's no way these are real. I start doing a little bit of due diligence, looking, and I'm like, if this is it, like this is a turnkey, like I get it. Like worst case scenario, we buy it, we break even, right? Which was probably, 40% less than what we needed to, 40% less of what we were expecting to make to just break even. And so I was like, okay, cool. It's like the numbers like surprisingly checked out, right? And the house was nice. It's not on the main big beaches where you're going to spend $10,000 a week or $15,000 a week, but it's around those areas. And if you want to be in those areas and check out the boardwalk, and it's just a 5-10 minute drive away, it's not that big of a deal. And so we're paying a third of the price to get half the rent, on a short-term basis. It's a perfect thought. Right? Because not everyone's going to want to shell out 15 grand to rent a place or 10 grand to rent a place, but they might do three, right? They might be their only vacation for the year. They might do three, they might do four. And so we're kind of hitting that sweet spot of maybe not the top echelon of folks, but the everyday person that wants to get out for a week and spend a week with several people, up to 10 of their friends or family members. And that's where we kind of landed on. And so we've owned it now for about a month and a half. We've had 4 renters or so come in and out. I don't know how many specifically renters we have for the rest of the year, but between now and December, we are 30% occupied. Now, of course, those numbers may go down. They might go up, more likely to go up because people might cancel. They might go down, but I'm feeling like, as time progresses, we've only had it about a month and a half. So late December is when we closed. And so optimistic, right? Initial revenue numbers. So this is revenue. This is before cleaning fees. This is before electricity, cable, insurance, all that. Projected at the moment, right, to date bookings for the year end. Now, of course, this is before anybody cancels on us and before anybody else books. $47,000 for the year. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in a beach area in New Jersey. So we're relatively happy. The mortgage at this point, if everyone follows through with their bookings, will be clear. And like I said, we're only 30% occupied for the current bookings to date. And we are, less than 10/12ths of the way through the year. Or 2/12ths, sorry, of the way through the year. So we have about 80% of the year left to go. I anticipate we'll probably get closer to 50 to 60% occupancy for the entirety of the year. So if that's the case, I'm really thinking that this thing might get 60 to 70,000. I think last year they were projected to get $65,000 in rental income. Now, of course, you have to pay mortgage and stuff of the like. So, that That'll run us a good bit because it is a pricey home, right? It's not something that's 40 grand, right? It's several $100,000 worth. But at the end of the day, the return looks pretty good. As of right now, cash on cash, meaning cash flow, if we were not to get any more bookings, we're looking at 7%. If you include the equity, we're looking at like 11, 12%. So pretty impressive, right? I'm like, there's no way that we're actually going to pull this off. Part of the things that I was scared about, relieve me. But what I will say, is that it's a lot more work than you might give it credit for, right? So you have to keep in mind, we've had 4 renters. It's, I guess, a month and a half in. So maybe we've had more than 4 renters, but regardless, we have some renters that have come in. We have forecasted out, almost all of June, July, August is half rented. September is half rented. May is pretty spotty at the moment. We have like 1 weekend booked. April, I think we have a whole first week booked. But so and then we have a lot of weekend rentals coming up over the coming months before we get into summer. But that's a lot of turnarounds. It's a lot of people you got to talk to, right? It's going to be like 40 to 50 people a year that you're going to have to converse with, make sure that everything's okay, check in, check out. And so it's a hustle, man. But it's fun, right? Like, it's new to me. It's new to my friend who I went in this house with, and it's fun, right? And him and I are having a good time, and we're kind of just like right now paying for stuff out of pocket. Like, we're paying for electric out of pocket. We're paying for gas out of pocket. We're paying for cable out of pocket. And we're just kind of like waiting. We're like, this is too good to be true, man. Like, the money's coming into the bank account. For those of you guys who don't know, 2 days after that person checks in, you get the process, right? It starts and it takes 2 to 3 days thereafter. So within 5 days of that person checking in, you should be getting your money into your account. So like, we're starting to see the money come in through Airbnb and Vrbo. And like, we have this long list of, thousands upon thousands of dollars that are subjected to come in, February, April, May, March, February, April. But anyway, so it's just like kind of crazy. So we're obviously just hoping nobody like realizes that, we're new at this and they cancel on us. But like I said, it's been turnkey, right? So somebody put a lot of thought and effort into it. And that person had a very successful 2-year career running the Airbnb before we even got there. And so we've done a little bit of, little updates here and there that we only think are beneficial. We're not trying to drastically change the formula, but it's really interesting being in the hospitality business. But it was something I always wanted to try. And I thought, you know what? Worst case scenario, we get a beach house out of it. So those of you that have seen me talk about it on Twitter, it's really exciting for me. So I apologize if it's annoying. This channel is not going to turn into Airbnb only, unless obviously people want to see it and they ask for more. If you do, feel free to leave me a comment or just message me on Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff if you're curious. As always, you guys can do that with my dividend stocks. You can do that with my options. You can do that with my conviction stocks. You guys know I'm an open book. But I really wanted to get that out to you guys because a few people have asked me about it. And I thought, like, if you asked me about this a month ago, it was way too early. Right? We hadn't even gotten a month ago. We hadn't even got Airbnb online yet. And here we have like $12,000 worth of bookings through Airbnb. And the majority of the rest is summer rentals through Vrbo, some of which transferred from the old guy. I think we had like 2 or 3 that had already had like summer bookings that he was able to transfer to us, which was awesome. Because that made us feel good. It's like, oh wow, like we already have, I don't know, it was a couple $1,000s worth of bookings, because it was a couple summer weeks that he kind of gave us. So it was really cool to have that. But a month ago, we didn't even have Airbnb online. And then as soon as we got Airbnb, we started noticing very short-term rentals were coming in. Airbnb is a lot more like weekend or 3-day focus here and there. Vrbo is a little bit more. I'm not saying that there's no weekends that come in through Vrbo, but it was mostly like the majority of our summer income to date is coming through Vrbo with like weekly rentals, 7-day rentals. So it's pretty interesting to see the dichotomy of folks coming in through Airbnb versus Vrbo. So it's pretty interesting. But anyway, I'll leave it there. And, maybe in future videos, I'll think about, sharing pictures of the property or, sharing the town of the property, maybe sharing you guys some financials. how I'm calculating my cash on cash return and my total return. What's the difference between the two, how I'm calculating my occupancy, things like that. But for now, I just want to introduce it to you guys and really curious what your guys' thoughts are. We're really excited. And I think it's something I'm going to continue. I think it's an opportunity that, that market, right, where you're not going for the high price properties, you're going for more of the middle class to upper class sort of properties. You're able to buy them for a third of the price, but get half the rent. I see great opportunity there to build equity value. The only hope is that town going to stay that way? And same thing with real estate always, right? Is it going to fall off? And so it shields us a little bit because we're not buying into one of those big fancy towns where it's a $3 million house. And if the thing goes sideways, then, we're in it for a huge $3 million. It's, it's a little bit less than that. So, a lot of fun. It's been so much fun so far. I've learned a lot. And I think it's given me a little bit perspective change as well, which hopefully I'll be able to share with you guys on the channel, a little bit more often. So thanks, guys. Talk to you guys soon. Cheers. Hope this helps.